There's no diet plan here, no supplements, no calorie counting. Just one rule Okinawans follow every day, and most people never learn it. That rule is called Harahachi Bu. It's a simple idea with surprisingly powerful effects, and once you understand it, you'll never look at eating the same way again. Harahachi Bu is a traditional Okinawan principle that means stopping eating when you're about 80% full. Not stuffed, not uncomfortable, just satisfied. It's not a diet. It's not about food quality or calories. It's about knowing when to stop. And here's what makes this truly fascinating. It's not something people do occasionally or test for a short period of time. In Okinawa, it's practiced quietly and consistently at every meal across an entire lifetime. What happens when you stop just a little earlier, day after day, meal after meal, isn't dramatic at first. The effects aren't immediate. They build slowly, almost invisibly. And over time, that accumulation may help explain why Okinawa has one of the longest living populations on the planet. Most of us were taught to stop eating when we feel full. That's what we recognize as the signal to stop. But full is actually a late signal. By the time you feel stuffed, your body has already gone past what it needs. The stretch in your stomach, the heaviness, the slight discomfort, those are signs that intake has already exceeded necessity. Harahachi Bu flips that idea completely. You don't wait for discomfort. You stop earlier while eating still feels easy. When you still feel light. When food still tastes good. When you could keep going, but you choose not to. This is what gives the principle its power. It's not about fighting hunger or resisting cravings. It's about recognizing satisfaction before it quietly turns into excess. And because of that, it's surprisingly easy to follow. There's no restriction. No sense of deprivation. Just a gentle pause at the right moment. What's especially interesting is that in Okinawa, this isn't treated as a method or a technique. It's something people grow up practicing every single day, without thinking about it, without effort, without rules. In Okinawa, Harahachi Bu isn't something people try for a few weeks and then move on from. It's something they grow up with. Meals tend to be slower. Portions are naturally smaller. And eating is rarely rushed or distracted. People usually sit down to eat. They focus on the meal in front of them. They notice flavors, textures, and, just as importantly, how their body feels as they eat. That environment makes stopping early feel normal. There's no strong expectation to finish everything on your plate. There's no social pressure to eat past comfort. Stopping early isn't unusual, it's simply how meals work. Over time, this changes more than just portion size. It changes how often the body has to deal with excess. When meals consistently end before discomfort, digestion isn't constantly overloaded. The body isn't always processing more than it needs. That ongoing metabolic ease, practiced daily, year after year, is one reason Okinawa has such a high number of people living well into their 90s and even past 100. Interestingly, the phrase Harahachi Bu literally means eat until you are 8 parts full. The name itself isn't a strict rule. It's not precise or mathematical. It's a simple mental cue, a reminder to stay aware. And that awareness, reinforced at every meal, slowly becomes second nature. Harahachi Bu works in Okinawa not because of willpower, but because of environment, because of habit, because it's woven quietly into everyday life. What's remarkable is that this isn't just tradition. It aligns closely with how the human body actually works. When we eat until we're completely full, there's a delay. Signals that tell the brain we've had enough food don't arrive instantly. They often take time, sometimes 15 to 20 minutes, to fully register. So by the time fullness is obvious, the body has already received more energy than it needs. That delay is the gap. And that's exactly where Harahachi Bu makes a difference. Stopping earlier, around that 80% point, gives those signals time to catch up. You finish eating before fullness peaks. And when that sense of fullness does arrive, you realize you don't need more. You're already satisfied. Over time, this pattern can mean fewer sharp glucose swings, less strain on digestion, and lower overall metabolic stress. The body isn't constantly working overtime to process excess food. It has more space to regulate, to recover, and to function with less burden. Researchers studying calorie intake and aging have consistently observed that mild, sustainable restraint is associated with healthier aging. Not extreme restriction, not constant hunger, not dieting. Just eating slightly less than what feels maximal. Harahachi Bu fits naturally into that pattern, not as a scientific protocol, but as a human-friendly habit the body responds to intuitively. It doesn't require measurement. It doesn't require tracking. It simply asks you to notice and stop a little sooner. And when that happens consistently, the body adapts. Hunger cues recalibrate. Appetite becomes steadier. And over many years, the cumulative effect may quietly support long-term health and longevity. So how do you actually practice Harahachi Bu in everyday life? The first step is slowing down. Eating a little more slowly gives your body time to notice what's happening. It makes the 80% point easier to recognize. You might put your fork down between bites. Chew a little longer. Take a brief pause or a breath. These small actions create space to feel what's happening inside. The second step is paying attention to comfort, not fullness. Harahachi Bu isn't about stopping when you're hungry. It's about stopping when eating still feels comfortable. That moment when food still tastes good, but you know you could keep going. That's usually the 80% point. It's subtle. It's not dramatic. But once you notice it a few times, it becomes familiar. You don't need to measure anything. You don't need to count calories. You don't need to change what you eat. You simply pause and choose to stop a little earlier. At first, this can feel unfamiliar. You might finish a meal and notice the thought, I could have eaten more. That feeling isn't hunger, it's habit. But over time, your body recalibrates. Your sense of enough becomes clearer, and stopping early starts to feel natural, not forced. That's how Harahachi Bu works in real life. Not as a rule you follow perfectly, but as a habit you gently practice, meal after meal. A small shift, repeated consistently, that can quietly change how your body feels over decades. Harahachi Bu isn't about restriction. It's about awareness. A small shift in how you eat, practiced consistently over time, can quietly change how your body feels for decades. And this habit doesn't exist on its own. It's part of a much bigger lifestyle that has helped Okinawans live longer, healthier lives. The food they eat, the way they move, the way they connect with others, all of it works together. If you want to understand that bigger picture, I'll link the full Okinawan diet and lifestyle breakdown right here. It's called Blue Zone Secrets. Start the Okinawan diet for a longer life. It connects everything we talked about today and shows how these principles fit into a complete way of living. I'll see you there.